Okay, I gave myself some time after the unboxing to really think about Deathsaurus. My initial reaction was pretty positive, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just the excitement of a new toy and that this was really a good purchase. Plus, I'm sure you all wanted to see me animate it. Let's really take a look at Emperor Murder Chicken. First off, we can't really look at this guy without making comparisons to the previous Haslab Victory Saber. Now, don't get me wrong. I still like my Victory Saber. He is great. But my biggest quibble with him was he didn't really feel like a premium product. There was a lot of obvious cost-cutting measures, namely hollow parts, and just overall, he looked like a retail release dressed up for a night on the town. In the toy's defense, it is two large toys trying to accomplish a lot. But you crowdfunded it for collectors, so plan accordingly, Hasbro. But looking at his arch rival, or is it his archer rival, Deathsaurus just plain feels premium. There's almost zero hollow parts. Every inch of him is covered in beautiful details. There's just a quality to him, and I'm happy to say it really matches the expectations of a crowdfunding endeavor. Deathsaurus' robot mode is a sight to behold. He looks like he walked out of the anime into the real world and is daring anyone to make fun of him. The colors are vibrant with the contrasting dark blue and gray, the red accents, and the gold. Oh, the gold is just gorgeous. I had concerns of the powder blue on the wings and thighs, but it too works really well. The articulation on this guy is near perfect. It's got everything I want anyway, and he's able to throw some fantastic poses, and everything just feels good while doing it. Well, almost everything. I have one point of concern, structurally speaking. At the shoulders, Deathsaurus is sporting some butterfly joints. A welcome addition, honestly, but the soapy white plastic used here is rather thin, and they snap in place on my copy with a concerning level of security that makes me scared to utilize them without breaking the plastic. It's not a huge deal, but I do feel I need to be careful around this particular feature. With a name like Deathsaurus, you have to hope he will have some options for which to dispatch his foes, and I'm happy to say that this killer poultry is packing. First, we have the chain mace. I love this thing. It just looks so damn cool, and it stores great in the robot mode. Then there's the sword. Look, they say it's not the size that matters, but I would not be surprised if Star Saber felt a little inadequate by comparison. This thing is massive and looks like it could easily cleave any Autobot or Decepticon in twain. We then have one lone arrow, but more on that later. Next, we have a living metal destroying cannon. This is the BFG 9000 of Transformers weapons in my opinion. The weapon that killed Super God Jinra. Spoilers, I guess. This thing is so cool looking. It unfolds into this massive blaster with creepy mandibles on the front and looks absolutely wonderful with the included purple blast effects. For defense, we have his shield, which can be wielded in a variety of different ways. Now, all of these accessories are cool, but kinda normal. But Deathsaurus doesn't do normal. Deathsaurus is the leader of the Breast Force, a name that means exactly what you'd expect. His chest panels can pop out to form two smaller companion robots. What did you think it meant? Anyway, as a fan of cassette bots, these guys are pretty awesome. With the awe-inspiring names of Tiger Chest and Eagle Chest, I honestly can't see how they couldn't be. Like their big bad boss, these guys are exquisitely detailed and are rocking a good amount of articulation for their size. They each sport a third mode. Eagle Chest can convert into a Target Master. He's not the coolest looking hand blaster of all time, but I'm sure working for Deathsaurus means he can get the job done. Meanwhile, Tiger Chest here can transform into a beautiful bow that can be fitted with an arrow. And this, my friends, was the image that sold me on Deathsaurus. I've always had a thing for archers, and seeing a Transformer pull off this pose was just fantastic in my book. If the bow didn't sell me on this toy, this last accessory was certainly the icing on the cake. Now, I know it's silly, but who doesn't love a cool-looking throne for their Decepticon leaders to sit on? This is such a cool addition, and perfect for Deathsaurus, since he spent a surprising chunk of time on the show just chilling in this thing. The throne is a messy, cheesy design that just reminds me of those antimatter bubble monsters from 70s Doctor Who. It's also great how it can store most of his accessories and has a nice little perch for his pet bird. The last accessories of note to come with this figure are, of course, the Micromasters. This time, we got 2 brand new molds for the remaining members of the rescue team, in the forms of Pippo, the ambulance, and Boater, the boat. I have to say, these might be the best Micromasters Hasbro has recently produced. That's not saying much because the bar is incredibly low, but I like these guys. They stay together, they're fun to transform, and they look great. Transforming Deathsaurus was surprisingly enjoyable. Intuitive is probably the best way to describe this conversion. Everything flips and folds into place with relative ease. The only hang-up I found is folding the fists away can be a bit of a pain to get the panels open, but that's probably more of a me issue than the toy's problem. I particularly like how the robot leg's back panels fold in on themselves. It's almost on the level of a third-party figure, but without the plastic slicing through your hands. Deathsaurus's alt mode is... well, officially it's a kaiju, but I like to think of him as a deadly robot space chicken. This mode is ridiculous, and I kinda love it. The chicken head moves with a wonderful fluidity, and the juxtaposition of these tiny little arms compared to these hips that would make Shakira jealous is just hysterical to me. Everything about this figure is just a love letter to Transformers victory. Now, I have a third-party Deathsaurus in the form of MMC's Z-Def. I liked it a lot in how it looks, but it's not a fun toy. Don't get me wrong, it is an engineering marvel, and it models my favorite IDW-inspired design for the character. But at the end of the day, it's nowhere near as fun to play with as the Haslab Deathsaurus. I could pick this guy up and transform him quickly, or mess around with the accessories to pose him in all sorts of great shapes, or I can just plop him down in his throne and call it a day. This toy just works for me. It's a shining example of the great things that Hasbro and Takara are capable of, and I am really happy I have it in my collection.
Oh look! Another flesh creature that watches without subscribing! Seriously, it's so easy an Autobot could do it!